Okay.
I will be speaking to you about positively speaking to strangers. Have you ever come across a stranger who you would like to engage in conversation with? Whether it be an attractive lady or gentleman, or someone at the bar who looks like they're down in the dumps, or even a coworker who just moved into the cubicle next to you. Today I will be talking to you about positively engaging in conversation with those people, with those strangers. You can go about your day without speaking to any strangers I mentioned before, but if you do talk to that attractive lady, that could potentially be the start of a new relationship. Or you could cheer up that guy at the bar and he wouldn't have committed suicide that night. Or if you made a friend to the guy in the cubicle next to you, you guys could be friends for life. After years of being very reserved when speaking to strangers, I found that a little positive output to a stranger can change lives. That's why I've decided to research how to speak positively to these strangers. There are 3 skills I would like to address. 1 being confident when faced with fear. 2 is gaining knowledge about that stranger. And 3 is to be completely honest when talking to them. The first point I would like to bring up is confidence, even when you're scared. Fear is the #1 weakness when it comes to being confident. Remember the saying, confident fights fear. A statement by Mark Toyle in his article, Be a Great Conversation Starter, from the website uncommonhelp.me. He explains, people are naturally fearful when talking to strangers. It's a fact of life. When trying to start a conversation with that handsome man, it's natural to feel fear about what you're going to say next. If you say something stupid, you can be overcome with fear of what they might think, and the conversation will go downhill from there. He also states that if you always keep a confident tone in your voice, even if you're not certain about what you are saying, the conversation will still be a positive one. Even if the words are stupid and make no sense, if you keep your tone confident, it will still make a positive impression on that person. A confident tone with your conversation takes away the fear of what to say next and relaxes you. This will help you think clearly of what to say next. Mark Toyle explains another way to be confident when speaking to strangers is to smile. When talking to a stranger, if your face reads that you are scared and not enjoying the conversation at hand, then the stranger will not enjoy the conversation either. Smiling makes you seem that you're interested in the conversation, and it might bring a smile to their faces as well, and then they will want to continue the conversation that they're having with you. Second point I will bring up is, at all costs, avoid uncertainty and anxiety with knowledge and understanding. William Kadunskin and Young Un Kim have great experience when it comes to gathering knowledge about strangers. In their article, An Approach to Interracial Communication, in the 1995 Build Bridges, Not Walls, they share their experiences with communicating with other cultures. People from other cultures are very different, and communicating with them can come off as a challenge, seeing that they have less in common. Not having anything in common can be a positive thing if you know how to use it. Instead of giving your views on a subject, ask questions about what they think about certain subjects, and do not get offended. Be understanding. Avoid harsh subjects with the stranger and focus on positive aspects. If you have offended them with a certain subject, don't continue down that subject. Instead, start a new line of conversation. When finding out what they're interested in, continue on that line of conversation to keep the conversation going in a positive manner. William and Kim say the best way to acquire knowledge about the stranger is noting what their surroundings and their features before engaging the conversation. A good example of this is the guy at the bar. You see that his face is sad and unshaven. He is a little smelly. His suit, he's wearing a nice suit, but it's ripped and kind of dirty. So you can tell he probably lost his job and he could use a good friend right now. By just noticing his surroundings, you know a few first conversation starters, and you can you know the goal of your conversation, and for him that is to enlighten his day. The third point I would like to bring up is to be completely honest when you're talking to strangers. So far I've talked about pleasing the stranger with the conversation, but sometimes it's not a good idea to just please the conversation. You have to be honest when talking to them, especially when you have to talk to them in the future. A portion of the Closeness Communication Bias, which is a journal written by Kenneth Salvery in July 2010, it states to let down your guard. Putting up a guard means that you are avoiding certain subjects. This guard could make you seem like you're closed and you are not enjoying the conversation, and it can lead to miscommunication and confusion later on down in the road of the conversation. The journal goes on to putting on a mask, hiding who you actually are, and this can come off as a lie in the future. If you are talking to your coworker in the cubicle next to you, and he loves to read books, and you please him by saying, "I like to read books too." Later down on the conversation, he'll then ask, "Well, what is your favorite books?" And you don't have any, and you don't know any. So therefore, he knows you lied before, and the conversation can lead to a negative conversation. Just be honest the first time. Try not to create a mask when you're giving a conversation with a stranger. Moving on to just being completely honest, even if it might offend them, especially if it's your own opinion. Being honest is hard, especially when talking to strangers, because they judge you in every little thing you say. But practicing honesty and not caring what they think is the first step to being completely open about sore subjects. A good example of this is an interview at a shipping yard. The interviewer says, "Can I trust you even if it means doing something illegal?" To please him, you would say, "Yes, I'll do whatever you want to, just because I want this job." But honestly, he doesn't want to do that. If he's honest and he says he doesn't, then he doesn't have to lie about it later. And it could just be a test. So the interviewer actually trusts him because he was honest the first time, even in a tight spot. Talking to strangers can be very scary and create uncertainty, but being confident, understanding, and honest goes a long way when positively speaking to strangers. Next time you meet a stranger and you feel the need to engage a conversation with them, remember these useful techniques I spoke of, and the conversation will be a positive one. It is very rewarding when you successfully speak to strangers. Not only do you potentially gain a friend, but you made a difference in that person's everyday life. So don't be shy and live a little. Go out and learn the adventures and experiences of other people. Who knows, you could change your course of life forever. The end. Thank you.